So we have made it eventually to Elephant Castle. It's a 4-track stop. There's a train now, not a 700, just a 319. Very soon these will all be running into Manchester. So we have a few of these nicely refurbished. These ones could do with some refurbishment. Although the back one seems to have been reliveried. The first one is still in First Capital Connect livery. Oh dear. These are the same trains I take every morning.
Last time I had Wi-Fi.
So there's Anne installed here, which is quite odd, because it's not exactly a huge station. There seems to be a lot of disruption due to an earlier broken down train, although thankfully our 39 train is not. In fact, we are affected because the 24 that will be arriving now is cancelled, so the next train's at 39. But that's good for us because we have more time to sit here and hopefully spot a 700 with a bit of luck. Off it goes. So usually the Thameslink would split north of here, with some running via Elephant and Castle and others via London Bridge. However, due to London Bridge reconstruction, they're all running via Elephant and Castle. So we get to see the maximum threshold. Maybe get a 700. We'll see. See it actually. Another 319. And there we have it. Ladies and gentlemen, the class 700 Desiro City. And it's not stopping here.
Yeah,
It is? No, it's not. It's not stopping here.
that's a very long train.
Oh, it is very long, yeah. Maximum capacity. They're rolling them out weeks' time.
They're empty.
It's supposed to be in 2 stations at one time or something.
Not even a 387. Disappointing. We've got 319. Still, we've seen the 700, so basically fulfilled this entire, basically justified this entire trip to London. I must say, GTR's livery is incredibly imaginative. I mean, look at that.
Horizontal.
And off we go
Yes.
from Elephant and Castle.
Not horizontal.
At least we still get to take a ride through the Thameslink Core.
It's a bit like that. Yeah.
This is a funny section on the 4-track here. It's like a very old, a much older, dirtier version of the railway through Berlin.
Dad.
So what's in your shop then? Bag? No, you've got one. You've got one.
And then we cross the London Bridge line.
That's not good. Dad, feel that. What are you talking about?
377 to Bedford. So after being stuck here for about 8 weeks, we are now finally moving on. The next station is London Blackfriars. So Blackfriars is the, like with airports, most cities have one big railway station. London has about 58. This is one of them, London Blackfriars, which is the only station to span the river. We're now on the south side of the River Thames, and by the time we leave the station we will be on the north. In fact, we are on the river right now. It's a whole new station building. It's quite cool. So this was built early on as part of the Thameslink programme, though there's still quite a while to go. London Bridge and the arrival of the new trains is currently what we're waiting for. So we're now leaving Blackfriars. I think it's after this we dip underground for City Thameslink, which is underground. The terminus platforms. Yeah, we pass right by the ticket gates, that's cool. So we are now on the north side of the Thames, just like that. I can feel the sloping already. Ooh, it's a weird feeling. So now entered the Thameslink tunnel. Here's a bit more information about the Thameslink tunnel.
The Thameslink Core. This should be fun. Imagine, the year is 1863. The London Chatham and Dover Railway is on a mission to get as far into London as possible, one station at a time. In 1863, the LC&D opened its first London terminus of the Herne Hill line at Blackfriars Bridge on the south bank of the River Thames. Then in 1864, they built their first bridge over the Thames, we'll call it Bridge 1, and extended the railway into a temporary station called New Bridge Street. In 1865, this was replaced with Ludgate Hill, built on a viaduct further up the line. Then in 1866, the Snow Hill Tunnel was built, meeting the Metropolitan Railway at a three-way junction just east of Farringdon. The Metropolitan Railway was widened to 4 tracks in 1866 between King's Cross and Moorgate, creating the City Widened lines. The link to the East Coast Main Line had opened in 1863, with the link to the Midland Main Line opening in 1868. Then in 1874, the LC&D created a new terminus at Holborn Viaduct. Adjacent to Holborn Viaduct, platforms were added to the Snow Hill lines at a station first known as Holborn Viaduct Low Level and later renamed to Snow Hill. In 1886, a second bridge over the Thames, we'll call it Bridge 2, was built, and a new station was built on the north bank of the Thames known as St Paul's. North of St Paul's, the line joined the line from Bridge 1 and ran into Ludgate Hill. At this point, Blackfriars Bridge on the south bank of the Thames was closed. In 1916, the Snow Hill Tunnel was closed to passengers, although the line remained open for freight until the 60s. After 1916, trains from the south terminated at Holborn Viaduct, and trains from King's Cross and St Pancras via the City Widened lines terminated at Moorgate. In 1929, Ludgate Hill Station was closed. Then in 1937, St Paul's was renamed to Blackfriars. In 1976, services from the East Coast Main Line via King's Cross into the City Widened lines were withdrawn. Then in 1985, Bridge 1 over the Thames was closed as it was old and deemed unsuitable to modern trains, leaving these ghostly pillars behind. By the mid-80s, demand for better north-south connections in London were growing, so British Rail decided to reopen the Snow Hill Tunnel in what was known as the Thameslink Project, not to be confused with the Thameslink Programme. The route followed the original tunnel from Farringdon, then the tunnel was extended south so that trains ran underground all the way to Blackfriars. The new route, known as the Thameslink, was opened in 1988, with St Paul's Thameslink being added in 1990, then being renamed to City Thameslink in 1991. The line to Holborn Viaduct, made redundant by the Thameslink, was closed in 1990. In 2009, work started on improving the Thameslink in what is known as the Thameslink Programme. This involved the closure of King's Cross Thameslink and the opening of St Pancras Thameslink, the lengthening of the platforms at Farringdon, a byproduct of which was the removal of the branch to Moorgate, the rebuilding of Blackfriars Station, which now spans the river and has an entrance on the south bank of the Thames, and the rebuilding of London Bridge Station, set for completion in 2018. Also in 2018, the Canal Tunnel will open, allowing trains from the East Coast Main Line to once again run into the Thameslink via a new tunnel from St Pancras to the ECML. As part of Blackfriars rebuilding, the bridge was widened, engulfing one of the 2 rows of abandoned pillars from Bridge 1, leaving 2 rows, which can still be seen today.
Oh, and straight away we're already at City Thameslink. That was fast. And away we go. Next station, Farringdon, where we join the Metropolitan line onto the City Widened lines, which we've covered before in a previous video. The City Widened lines are a section of the Metropolitan line between King's Cross and Pancras and Moorgate, with 4 tracks instead of 2. Here on this excellent MS Paint diagram, you can see where the Thameslink runs from the Midland Main Line onto the City Widened lines and all the way to Farringdon. It then curves down through the Snow Hill Tunnel. The line once went all the way to Moorgate via Barbican, where trains terminated in the bay platforms. As part of the Thameslink programme, the platforms at Farringdon were widened. The new platform covers over the old line, so trains can no longer run through. The platforms at Barbican and Moorgate are now abandoned. Also seen here are the curves out of the East Coast Main Line, where Great Northern services would also run onto the City Widened lines. The curve on the left was for northbound trains, which had a platform at King's Cross Main Line station. Southbound trains had their own station, called King's Cross York Road, immediately north, and these trains joined onto the City Widened line at the same place as the Thameslink from St Pancras. The original King's Cross Underground station was located just east of this junction until World War II, when it was damaged by bombs, and a new Metropolitan line station was built further west. When Thameslink services restarted, they continued to use the old station at King's Cross until 2007, when the bigger, more spacious St Pancras Thameslink was opened, leaving 2 abandoned stations: the Metropolitan station, which closed in the 1940s, and the Thameslink station, which closed in 2007. The Thameslink and Metropolitan line stations were linked by a passage, and the entrance to the old Thameslink station is still open today as an entrance to the new station. And again, we're already here. The station's just really close together. Farringdon will also be joined by Crossrail, or the Elizabeth line. I believe it's 2018 or 19, can't remember. So despite being National Rail, there are underground roundels at this station. Never really figured out why. So last time we were on a Metropolitan line train, we waited to spot King's Cross's abandoned tube station, while as now we're on the Thameslink, we're going to pass through the abandoned King's Cross Thameslink station. Isn't that cool? I think we swap sides first. There we go, that's the Metropolitan line. We've swapped sides. Here it is, King's Cross Station. Spooky. Very spooky indeed. Slightly more intact than the Metropolitan line station, which closed in 45. This one only closed in 2007. And here we are at St Pancras International. So Mum and I got the Thameslink from St Pancras to Cricklewood in February. That's my first time on the Thameslink. This is the 3rd. Here we are at Kentish Town, and the next station is West Hampstead. So here we are at West Hampstead Thameslink. That was a fun little detail. welcome to the surprise fourth presidential debate between future President Hillary Clinton and crazy lunatic Donald Trump. So Donald, about your earlier point about immigration, wrong. I think you just hate Muslims. Well, at least I didn't found ISIS. Neither did I. In fact, I have an email confirming it. Now let me just, where's it gone? We need to build that fucking wall.